Hello everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well and I hope you've had a good few days as we're nearing the end of the week. I've really run out of time this week, I really have. So I last did a recording voiceover on Sunday, and it's just the days have disappeared and I'm not quite sure where they've gone. So my video is a bit of a mix today. You'll see me getting rid of loads of stuff to the charity shop and just clearing it out of my house, which made me feel really pleased. You'll see me doing various things in the house to try and sort out, tidy up, get stuff out of the house, get stuff more organised and generally declutter. And if you stay right towards the end, you're going to see me make a cake. So if you're interested in that, stay to the end. If not, then just enjoy the first part of the video. So as I said, it has been a busy week. Monday started off where, as you know, I don't work on Mondays, and I try to be really strict not to work on Mondays. Mondays is my job to do the shopping, tidy up after the weekend, and just generally try to focus on particular parts of my house. However, this Monday, I also needed to have that meeting at Yarmouth that I mentioned. So me and my husband drove out to Great Yarmouth. It's quite a distance from where we live. And we were only there 15 minutes. So we signed what needed to be signed and then came home and picked my daughter up. On Tuesday, I worked all day and evening. In the late sort of afternoon, my in-laws kindly came round to bring my husband's birthday card and birthday presents, and I had a meeting at 6:30 just to meet someone about some DIY work, and it got to about 6 o'clock and we still hadn't eaten. So I'd done my daughter's dinner, she'd come home, got her flute out, had her flute lesson. My in-laws arrived and I needed, to be honest, eat my dinner quite quickly once it got to like 6 o'clock. My husband had planned to do like a curry dish using the chicken from Sunday roast. So then my husband at sort of the last minute invited my mother and father-in-law to stay, which was slightly awkward because I'd literally got 30 minutes before less than that, because I needed 10 minutes to drive there. I literally had 20 minutes to eat my food, go to the meeting. I knew the meeting was only going to be about 15 minutes. It did end up being a little bit longer, actually, because the lady needed to go through a few things with me. So I was probably gone about 20 minutes. And then I was back and I still read stories to my daughter. So I wanted to be back for that. So when my husband invited them for dinner, and we'd not really planned dinner, I was like a little bit taken aback, but I didn't say anything. So my father-in-law did want to stay. My mother-in-law was like, no, it hasn't been organised. Let's come round another time when it's organised. And I thought, that is quite a good idea. They're also coming round at the weekend, so it's not like we're not going to be seeing them fairly soon. Now, my husband, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, he cooked me a prawn puree. It was absolutely delicious. And we're going to have curry with this chicken. And then he said, oh, I'm going to try that same mix and use chicken. So I thought, great. So he'd been talking about this to his parents. So in the end, when his dad was saying about, oh, staying for dinner, I said, to be honest, I really don't think you'll like it anyway. So he said, oh, I don't know about that. I said, I don't think you will. I said, the prawns will either be too big or too small. They'll be too dry or too succulent. If we use the chicken from the roast, the chicken will be too dark or too light, too dry or too moist. The curry will be too spicy or too mild. So he sort of looked at me. He said, I give good constructive criticism. So I just looked at him and grinned. So for those of you that have remembered me talking about this, we've touched on this before in terms of feedback. I mean, if there's a situation where someone says to me, gives me a meal, and they say, oh, it's the first time I've cooked that, how could I improve? I would give them feedback, but I certainly would not be saying, the pieces of chicken are too big or the pieces of chicken are too small. And also, I just think when somebody has taken the time and effort, thought, consideration and care to cook me a meal, I would not be going down the route of giving those sorts of feedback, those sorts of comments. So I think he was a bit taken back about me saying that, but I thought, well, that is truthful. So I grinned about that. So in the end, they didn't stay because they are coming for dinner on Sunday, and that was going to be like far too rushed. But they did watch my husband make these sort of like chapatis. Delicious. I hope I have another one very soon with chicken. Really, really nice. So then after I'd had the meeting, I came back home, said goodnight to my daughter and read some stories, came downstairs, and I suppose at that point it was about 8:15-ish. And I suddenly thought to myself, it's my husband's birthday tomorrow, and I don't want to be spending the day making the birthday cake, so I need to make it tonight. So I then went to Tesco and got all the ingredients for the birthday cake and all the food to have in for when people come round. It was quite funny because I bumped into my family members while I was in Tesco. I was then going out through the checkout, and I said, oh, hello, and they said, oh, we'll see you soon. And I said, oh, I'm getting all the ingredients for the cake. And they said, what, you're doing that tonight? And I was like, yes. So I came home and started to make the cake, which you will see a little clip in the video. And for a moment, it could have all gone wrong. I made the mistake of using the butter when it wasn't soft. So it said softened, so it needed to be like room temperature, but I used it and that comes straight off the shelf from Tesco. So it could have gone horribly wrong, but I recovered the situation. I was pleased about that. That is important to me, that my husband has a nice cake, a cake that he really likes. And then on the top, I did these shards of chocolate, which I'd never done before. You like melt chocolate and just put it on a tin foil, tilt it one way or the other to make it very, very thin. And then you get a different, once it's not quite set, you get a different chocolate and put it over the top. The recipe was milk chocolate, dark chocolate and white chocolate, but my husband does not like white chocolate. So I did milk chocolate and a dark mint, which he likes dark chocolate and he likes mint. So that came out really well. So you'll see the first part of this video, you'll see I come back from the supermarket, it's just the beginning of the week, and I got the ingredients for a crumble, and I had lots of washing to do. So it's kind of really full on with doing all my household chores. The big thing that I've realised is because you do have to do household chores every single day, which is kind of a bit of a realisation to me. I never was kind of aware. I just thought you could just get everything done in one day. That does really take up the full day. I do find that, yes, I have a break for lunch, usually with my husband. We'll maybe watch something on TV about politics or we'll go on a walk. But otherwise, I am working all day. And the thing is, so I'm working in the house all day, and then when I'm actually doing my job work, obviously, I still need to be doing things in the house. So I just still find that juggle really difficult. And then, of course, what happens as soon as you leave something or you don't do something or you miss something one week, everything just piles up. And my problem this week has been on Wednesday, I used the last of the washing up liquid. And I wish I'd got some at the supermarket when I popped and got all those things, but I completely forgot. I did loads of washing up because I was behind with the washing up. And then I had loads and loads of washing up on the day of the birthday. So I've got some washing up liquid today, but the kitchen, when you see it later on, you'll see how it's all piled up again and it looks like a complete mess. And it just feels like one day you don't do things and then you're almost back to where you were. I like to think, like in Carolyn's words, my kitchen is more streamlined, so it definitely, I think, is quicker to get on top of things and get things sorted, but it can be a bit, what's the word? I don't know, a bit demotivating when you just look around and you think, oh my goodness. But then again, my sister came round and she said, oh, your kitchen's looking tidy. And I looked round and thought, oh, is it? I call this untidy at the moment. So she'd notice a difference, and my tidy is not how my tidy perhaps used to be. So she thought the kitchen was tidy. I looked at it and thought, oh, it's getting bad again. So maybe my sort of mindset has changed. And I also found that I've seemed to have quite a lot of washing. I've done a few loads this week and I've still got another load of things all piled up. I actually think it was because a lot of stuff was on my husband's chair and he went through some of it and a lot of it ended up being put in the wash all at the same time. So as you can tell, my week has been a bit busy, here, there and everywhere. And I haven't even begun to tell you about me trying to sort out these photographs. You know, I told you about sorting the photographs and the debacle that was. That was such a palaver, honestly, to try to get these. I went in one day, so that was on Tuesday. So the Tuesday where I went and got the cake ingredients, I think I'd been to Tesco 4 times because I went down there to get something. Then I went back to try and print the photographs out. Then the memory stick was encrypted, so I had to come back and unencrypt it. Then I went back and it still wouldn't work. Honestly, it went backwards so and forth so many times. Then I needed to find a frame. And the frame down there was like £21 and I didn't actually like it. And I thought, oh, I really begrudge spending £21 on something that I don't actually want up in my house. So then I ended up like driving around the city and the outskirts of the city to try and find a frame that I did like. So I couldn't find one that had got 4 spaces, 6x4, but I did find one that had 3. So I was pleased with that. So you can see in the video at the moment that I am getting these bags out of the house. I really didn't want them in the hall when people came round, so I wanted to get them out and I decided to take them all to the charity shop. So there were 3 bags that went to the charity shop. There was a bag of rubbish and recycling, and then there was some other sort of smaller boxes that needed to be put in the recycling. So it's a really nice feeling getting rid of them. And bear in mind that I've also got 2 bags in my husband's boot that I think he's been driving around for a couple of weeks. I thought he'd taken them to the charity shop and he hadn't. So that means that's 5 bags that are going to go to the charity. So that's a good result. All that stuff is going out of my house. I'm definitely going to the charity shop far more frequently than what I used to. Far more frequently. So that was on the same day as when I was driving around looking for these frames. So I managed just to get it all done. I finished work a little bit earlier and thought, right, I'm going to get rid of all this to the charity shop. I've still got my things that I need to take photographs of and sell. What I'm thinking about doing is actually to get them out of the bedroom and away from the cupboard doors in the loft room. I thought I'm going to get them into the playroom and stack them up. I might even get rid of the cot, which is on top of the wardrobe. I don't know if you've seen that, but I might get rid of the cot and put the boxes up there. Now you'll see a clip in a minute of some baskets that I saw in a shop. And I bought one of them. It's £7.99 with a lid. I can never find baskets with lids. So I thought I'll get that one for the lounge and then I can fill it up as a bit bigger than my other one and I can put the lid on it. So you'll see in this video, I do sort through my basket. Although I did make myself laugh because the first time of sorting it, I say sorting it in inverted commas, the first time I sorted it, I literally ended up just moving all the stuff from one basket to the next. And I thought, what am I doing? There must be some things I can get rid of. So I then went back and checked again. And I got rid of some paperwork. There were some documents that were expired. My daughter's very, very old huddle that she had when she was little, the first time we drove to Italy. And I thought, oh, she might need some sort of entertainment. So I put some of her Italian YouTubers onto her tablet, but in reality she just stared out the window because obviously it's so different looking at the mountains, everything from what she's used to. So it didn't really get used when she was small, but now it's completely out of, you can't do any updates or anything on it. So I said to my husband, what was the point of us keeping it in the basket? So I put the case in the bin because it was worn and sticky and dirty, and he's going to charge it up, and then he's going to wipe it, and then he's going to give it into one of these recycling places. So that was good. I didn't just literally move all the stuff from one basket to the other basket. Then whilst I was then thinking about sorting the baskets, I then got the basket from the stairs. So my idea about having the basket on the stairs and taking things up, I am the only person that takes anything up from the basket on the stairs. People fill the basket up with a whole range of random things, but they don't tend to take something out of the basket and carry it upstairs. So I decided whilst I was doing the first basket that I'd go all the way through the stairs basket and decide where things needed to be and whether they needed to be in that basket. In reality, there were some things that again could be put in the bin, or paperwork that needed to be actions, that needed to be put in a different place, and everything else does need to go up. So I've said to my daughter and my husband, every time we go up, you need to take something from the basket, take it upstairs and put it away. So they have agreed to that. So you can see even in this video, so this is before we had a few people round, there was quite a lot of washing up. It was starting to slip, and it was starting to slip because of the roast dinner. So that was the reason. So before I started to sort out these baskets, I wanted to do a quick hoover. And then you can see how I'm so pleased. And the first thing I did was just literally like put everything in there. And then I decided to get things back out and go through things properly. There were a few bits that I put in the bin, but predominantly I was just moving it from one basket to the other. But isn't that nice? That basket on the left is bigger and more spacious and got a lid. The other thing I've thought that's quite nice for is hampers, isn't it? Like for Christmas presents or birthday presents, it's quite nice to get one of those and fill it with a few bits. It's bigger than A4 size, and I do think that's cheap, $7.99. What do you all think? Do you think that's competitive? I think that's a pretty good price. I did think to myself about that Queen, the magazine of the Queen, which I want to keep, but I'm not sure that really belongs in that basket. Right, I've talked quite a lot, so I'm now going to go through some of your comments. So thank you so much to those of you that take the time to like my videos, to comment on my videos, to make suggestions, give me your thoughts and ideas. I read every single one of your comments, and I try very hard to reply to them all. It's getting harder, I must admit. It's getting harder. I have a little system where I tend to like your comment and reply, and then if I go through, I go through a number of your comments on my video, then I'll put a little heart on it. So first up today is Louise Tilbrook. So Louise says, you made me hungry when you mentioned roast dinner and shepherd's pie. P.S. Mum and I are having a very lean Christmas this year due to the cost of living. Since the end of October, I've been buying one Christmas item per pay. Do you mean per like salary that you're getting? Or per day? I wouldn't think you'd mean per day. That'd be a lot of Christmas items. P.S. You can't play the ukulele with long nails. There's a lot of instruments you can't play with long nails. I remind my daughter you cannot play the viola with long nails, because you need to get the pads of the finger down. I'm guessing the ukulele is the same thing. I think it's very sensible having a lean Christmas. I think sadly, lots of people get caught up with thinking that you have to spend a lot of money. They look at Facebook and they look at social media and they compare themselves to other people. My recommendation is never compare yourself to others. You are unique. You are fantastic as who you are. What's right for one person is not right for another person. And I often think of one of my good friends who posted these amazing photographs on Instagram when she went to Lapland with her partner. And there were these pictures of the hot tub, and in the background it's hot tub and holding champagne. In the background there were the northern lights, absolutely stunning. And when I caught up with her after she'd come back, I said, oh wow, those pictures, That was absolutely amazing. She said, oh, yeah, she said, I loved that. That was such a great how I said, oh, how did your partner find it? With the lights and everything. Did he enjoy it? Oh, she said, we were split up at that point. So these are incredible pictures that had been posted where people would have looked, and some people would have felt, oh, I wish that was me, or oh, I can't afford that, or oh, this. And actually, it was Instagram fantastic, but wasn't completely reality. There was another story that sat behind the Instagram photo. I think often people also compare, like they look at photographs of what presents their children have got, and children don't remember. Very rarely do they remember what presents they were bought. There's a couple of years that I can remember very clearly. I can remember very clearly I got a violin for one Christmas present, which I was incredibly excited about. My mum had bought it from an auction and I had to wait till Christmas to get it. I can remember getting a big beef burger that was a lovely beanbag in the shape of a beef burger. And I can remember getting my Bible story book. It's not many other presents that I can remember getting. But what I do remember is waking up on Christmas morning and seeing that Father Christmas had been, and all my pillowcases were full of presents, and calling through, he's been, and then dragging my pillowcases through to my mum and dad's bedroom. And my mum sitting up in bed and looking to see what I'd got, and my dad still sort of being half asleep, and every so often having a look to see what I'd got. I can remember the Christmas lovely smell of the turkey cooking as I went downstairs, the Christmas tree and all the baubles that every year I purposely put the red and pink ones near each other, so my sister had to move them around because the colours clashed. It's the little things that children remember. They don't remember that, when they were 11 years old, they got bought a fancy iPhone. They just won't remember that. Okay, I digressed there slightly, didn't I? But I'm sure a number of you agree with me because we all seem to have lots of opinions on lots of things. Carrie says, oh, I love your videos, the longer the better. Look at you, go girl. 60 viewers away from 3,000. I'm so excited for you. Carrie, thank you very much. That was 10 days ago, and I'm glad you've said that because it's felt like forever getting to 3,000. But in other words, 10 days ago I'd got to get 60 viewers, and I think now I've got to get about 20. Oh, Virginia Goss 417. So Virginia has commented a few times, and she's given a bit of an update on a couple of things. So Virginia says, what a breath of fresh air you are, Emma. I've been following you for a few months, but comment here and there. Yeah, I do remember your name, so I definitely remember reading your comments before. I'm the one who lives in Newfoundland, Canada. I enjoy each and every one of your videos, and I don't care how long they are. I just love it when I get a notification. Oh, that's lovely, thank you. My dad is still in hospital, and our family is very busy making sure there is someone with him at least 12 hours a day. So when I'm home, I have no desire to do anything. You are my get up and go girl. I play the newest video, like now, and get to cleaning and tidying, and I stop when the video is over. So thank you, my friend. You are a blessing. What a very, very kind comment. Don't put yourself under too much pressure, Virginia, because you're juggling a lot with your dad. All your family are trying to pull together and make sure that someone is with him, for a significant proportion of the day. And actually, if you don't get so much done in the house at this point in time, really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. You're doing a great job with all that. Thank you for sharing that with us all. Holly says that's great news about selling the plate. I'm glad your husband made you and your daughter dinner before he went out. That's lovely. Roast is my favourite dinner. Yeah, I love a roast dinner. Something special about our roast dinners. Bebop, Australia. Love your videos, Emma, but especially enjoy the longer 45 to 50 minute ones. Thank you for letting me know. Sandy says, however long you make it, I will watch it. Definitely interested in the giveaway. Thank you for offering it. Sandy, I'll put your name down. I'll put your name down. Carolyn says that whole Christmas cake thing freaks me out. No way am I eating something that old. Oh, Carolyn, that really, really made me laugh. So I promise I won't send you a piece. And I did say to Carolyn, well, I'll try a piece on camera. That's quite normal to keep cakes that long. You know, you can eat cheese that long, that old, can't you? Rebecca Corsa Wallace. Rebecca, how are you doing? And how is your husband getting on? Has there been any change at all? Rebecca has written, the longer the vlog, the better for me. I find them relaxing. I've had a nightmare day chasing the GPs, and the specialist medication has been changed. My GPs are not being helpful. Still not sorted, so I start again. Oh dear. Some things just seem to be such hard work. And some things you just think, oh, can't they just sort it out? But instead, you have to go backwards and forwards to get anything done. I often feel for the people that don't have family members or friends that are fighting their corner, fighting their case, trying to help them with these things. I really do. Tracy Force says, I love watching your videos, so the longer the better. Thank you so much, Tracy. Elizabeth Paul says 30-ish minutes is good for me. I'll probably watch whatever you post. I enjoy your decluttering particularly. Thank you. Carolyn says 30 to 40 minutes is perfect for me. And Elizabeth says, P.S. I'd like to be included in the 3,000 subscriber giveaway. Okay, I will add you on. And Lisa House says, I always feel the same when I buy reduced goods. Should I leave some for someone else? Yeah, I know. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny how you sort of feel like that. Miranda Friday said, I went and put likes on previous videos. You star, Miranda. Thank you for doing that. Thank you so much, because we are doing well with the money for the charity. So I would like to get £100 after taxes. And when I checked last, I'm on about £76. So my aspiration is to get £100 for them. Next comment, Paper Playgrounds. I've been meaning to ask, what is mince? Is it what we call ground beef or hamburger meat? Blessings from Texas. So I think yes, it's what you call ground meat. We call it mince because it's been through a mince machine. Elsie Buttercup says, I'd be interested in one of your giveaways. Super. Andrea. So not heard from Andrea recently, and that's because she's been really busy. So Andrea says, hi Emma, I know it's been a while, but it's been crazy over this side of the pond. But I have been thinking of you because our eldest daughter is on your side of the world. I wish I could have connected you and her together so you could have met our family. So I replied to Andrea and said, that's so exciting. How old is this daughter who's here, and what a super opportunity for her. In future, you can stay with us and I'll clear out the spare room especially. What a wonderful opportunity it is. So Andrea, I was waiting for you to let me know whereabouts she is. I'm really interested in that. I know you replied to me, but the reply disappeared. Sometimes YouTube does some really strange things. Carolyn says, I can't believe they are still teaching Latin to young children. 50 years ago, my mum called it a dead language. Wow. So not all schools teach it in England, but from my perspective, it's really important because it helps with so many things. So it helps with if you work in like medical side of things, it helps with a lot of the language which is used, which they use Latin. It helps with music. It helps with plants and botany. It helps with all other Latin-based languages. So it helps with learning French, Spanish, Italian. So I think it's really, really important and very, very useful. So Cynthia Miller says, I'm so glad you decided to give up your third job. You won't be sorry. I've some good news to share. Last year, my doctor put me on new diabetes medication. Plus, I've lost £30 in the last 18 months. The doctor called me today to say that I'm no longer diabetic. And let's say those words again. Cynthia, that is fantastic. I'm no longer diabetic. Then he told me I no longer have to take another one of my meds. I'm quite thrilled. I must, however, really watch my food intake over the next 6 weeks with the holidays coming on. And do you know, I think that's amazing. Cynthia, was this your drive, or did the doctors say to you to do this? Because here in the United Kingdom, we have quite a strange system. So what happens is, and I don't know whether this is the same in the rest of the world, our medical system is very much controlled by the pharmaceutical industry. And the doctors have a big book to prescribe, basically. And what's happening more and more and more is our doctors have just become salesmen and saleswomen. So you go to the doctors, they run a load of tests, and they tell you that you need statins or this medication or that medication. They tend not to ask, what does your average day look like? What does your average week look like? Do you have any stress in your life? How do you feel from 1 to 10 in terms of stress? What fruit, vegetables do you eat? How much water do you have? How much alcohol do you smoke? They don't ask any of these questions. They just say, well, you are borderline for statins, so this is what we should prescribe you. Or, you need to have these tablets. They don't very often advise people on lifestyle. So I'm interested as to whether this is you, Cynthia, driving this forward, or whether your doctors have advised this. Either way, what you have achieved is massive, because it's extremely difficult to lose this amount of weight. And all medication has side effects, doesn't it? So the fact that you now don't need to take this medication is great. And Jada Dallas replied to that saying, congratulations, I lost a little over £30 and no longer have high blood pressure. So I understand to an extent how exciting it is to get a health problem sorted. That's really lovely. Congratulating Cynthia, Jada Dallas, and you've done very, very well as well. And Brooke commented, so excited for you, Cynthia. So great news, and thank you very much for sharing that with me and everybody else here. Helen Yorkshire says, I would definitely have a full-size dishwasher so you can get in pots and pans. They are often cheaper than the half-size options too. Thank you for that. Joanne3450 says, hi Emma, I love your channel. It's wonderful to watch your progress. Something that really worked for me was defining every space. Books on bookshelves. If you have too many books to fit the bookshelves, get rid of books. Clothing and upstairs drawers only. If you have too many clothes to fit in the drawers, get rid of clothes. This is much like Dana K. White's container method. You can fit a lot more clothing in a drawer if you fold it and stack it on end like a file folder. If you crumple it or leave it in a jumble and force it in the drawer, it will take up more space. Now, are people thinking that that's what I would ever do? Would I ever crumple something or force it in a drawer? That does not sound like me. I've got to tell you all that the drawer that we fixed, my husband's drawer, I went to it the other day, went to pull it open to put some things in. Guess what? It's broken. Joanne goes on to say, no need to do a total clear out. Just as you put things back, always fold them and put them to the side in the drawer. Then as you wear things, your drawer will become folded. I just started doing this to my drawers and I'm 66. I love it and will never go back. Thank you, Joanne. I appreciate your comment and suggestions. I love the fact that, yes, you've got to think about everywhere in areas. I do in my mind sort of got little zones in my house and then particular areas that I focus on and target. So I do, each room is like in sections in my mind. Nana Tracy, I never had a dishwasher, but I realised how easy it would have made my life when my children were all at home. I think one would make your life so much easier. I certainly think that would save a lot of time. I really do. So I'm going to go through a couple of comments and then I will finish for this video. So a comment that I received from Karen Davis. Karen says, I missed the story about you decluttering something into someone's house. Can't wait to hear about it. That's funny. My late mother-in-law used to go overboard decorating for Christmas, including setting up a Dickens village, which is a little porcelain building like shops and churches and houses set in time of Charles Dickens. Oh, how nice. My husband and I would sometimes sneak unrelated items into the village, little figures we bought from the dollar store, and see if she noticed. We put a fat baby holding a beach ball on the steps of one of the churches one year. She noticed that after Christmas when she was packing the village up to put away until the next year. I'm not sure she found it as hilarious as my husband and I did. Aw, that's a nice little story. I think it's nice when people continue to decorate. I know that some people sort of once they get to, I don't know, when they feel their children have moved away and their grandchildren are busy, and then they don't decorate for Christmas quite so much, which is a bit of a shame in many ways. I know some of you don't have a Christmas tree. In terms of the story about me decluttering something into someone's house, so I have done that twice. The first time I haven't recently checked to see if the item's still there. The second time the item definitely is there. And I did find it absolutely hysterically funny at the time. The next thing I think I'm going to declutter somewhere else is I've got like a little glass candle, and it just struck me funny to declutter the little glass candle into a shop. That just makes me want to laugh just thinking about it, that someone could, I could maybe put it on a table in a store that sells like sofas and tables and chairs, and then someone could like pick it up and then ask someone how much that is. Or somewhere like the White Company, I could just put that somewhere on a little shelf and someone could pick it up, and then a member of staff would then try and work out how much the little candle was. I don't know, these little things do amuse me. Chrissy says here from Liverpool. Cynthia says you gave your kitchen a really good cleaning. The before and after pictures are amazing. Have you made any more progress up in the loft? You had quite a bit scattered around the floor and I was confused with what you were doing with it. So, like I just now said, some of the things I'm going to sell, I'm going to move down to the playroom. And I've got rid of loads of the charity shop, but also some is still scattered on the floor. Coffee Loving Queen said, Emma, is your husband Italian? I never thought of it before, but between the pizza baking and your daughter learning Italian, I just wondered. My husband is Italian. We live in the Netherlands and our adult children are bilingual. And you also... So wait a minute, so he speaks Italian and he speaks Dutch. Your children are bilingual, but you also speak English. Are you English? I don't think I realised all this before. That's really interesting. So, no, my husband's not Italian. My daughter always gets asked that when we go to Italy. So this year, lots of people said, when she starts chatting away, they say, oh, is your mum Italian? And she says, no. Is your dad Italian? No. Oh, one of your grandparents is Italian? No. How come you speak Italian then? No, so we're not. It's just because before we had our daughter, we love Italy and we used to go to Italy most years. And I wanted her to learn a language from a very young age. Sometimes I look back and think, well, maybe I should have chosen French because I could speak French to a limited degree and that would have improved my French because I've forgotten a lot of my French. Also, my mum enjoys French and speaks French. But in many ways, I don't know, we don't go quite so much to France. And so she wouldn't have been able to practice the language. We still, most years, try to go somewhere in Italy. And now she's learning French and Spanish at school. She's picking that up really quickly because, like, Spanish is so similar to Italian. And she's doing well with the French as well. Carolyn says it wouldn't be so bad if the drying clothes were all in one room. I know. Does end up getting spread out, but some weeks when if I have less washing, then I can get it all dried in one room. And that is why I often put the heating on, which I know is quite expensive, but that just means it's dried quickly and I can then put it straight away. So it's now coming up to the weekend again, and I'm really pleased it's the weekend. I felt like lots has gone on this week. It's been really difficult to juggle and manage everything, and I'm ready for the weekend. We are having family come round. I need to double check. I'm pretty certain that's the Saturday, but I need to double check. And then hopefully Sunday will just be church and come home and just do things around the house and have maybe a roast dinner. My manager from my primary job has also asked me to do more hours, so I have been giving consideration to that. I said to my husband about, well, I could always work on a Monday. I was joking, but he was like, no, you like your Mondays. But I could possibly just do it for like 2 or 3 months. I do know what you'll all be thinking, like, live to work or work to live. But I am giving that sort of serious consideration because there's so many things that I need to do, and some weeks I do extra hours that I'm just not getting paid for. But it's just trying to juggle the demands of job 1 and job number 2. That's the main thing to think about. So you have to let me know your thoughts in the comments, and also let me know how all of your week has been. So for those of you that are bakers, and I know there's a few that follow me that like baking and making things, then I hope you enjoy this short clip at the end with me making the cake. I followed a new recipe. Definitely the kind of the icing at the top and in the middle was the best I've probably ever made it, because it turned out like a fudge icing, so that went really well. And as I said to you, I did use butter that was straight from the fridge, which was a mistake because I nearly got lumps of butter all the way through. So you have to spot if you see my faux pas with it and how I managed to resolve the situation and ensure that it wasn't a complete disaster. Looks this was in the morning, and the rest of the cake I did in the evening. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for following me. Thank you for your ongoing support and kindness, and for all of your comments. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!